following program is classified G. It's suitable for all ages.
Tonight, on our last program last week, we focused on the action of the law fraternity in the recent unrest that led to Sri Lanka's image being tarnished on the global stage. All lawyers are provided with a unique duty to protect and stand by the constitution of our country. The Bar Association is given the role of executing that duty and being the body that provides representation of the entire legal community within Sri Lanka. What is the role of the Bar Association during times of crisis? Is it to uphold the law, or is it to act as a political tool? And how ethical is it to politicize the Bar Association? Welcome to Law, Land and Liberty. As we said within our introduction, this is a continuation from the previous week's program, but we are keeping with the promise of bringing in a contemporary legal topic. And this, one would say, is more contemporary than many other topics that we have been discussing within this program. We are continuing the discussion on the role of lawyers, of the legal fraternity, what exactly during a time of crisis, during times of difficulties, whose objectives should the law fraternity be looking into. And in discussing that, a stakeholder that we cannot ignore is the Bar Association of our country. And we have with us an individual, we couldn't think of someone better to discuss this. President's Counsel Silva. Importantly, he is the former president of the Bar Association. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. I think we have a lot of ground to cover. We'll directly get into the questions, sir. I want to get your take, your elaboration, your expertise on this, and the experience, if you can depart to us. I think it's best if we can start off from the beginning, where this Bar Association, the split happened. But before coming to that, I want to give you some sort of introductory remarks as to why we are very passionate about this specific subject. Now, I am also a student of the law. I'm wanting to become a lawyer in the near future. We look at lawyers like you and the experienced people in the field. At the same time, we then see that the Bar Association in the recent past has catered towards a more disruptive agenda, one would say. We have seen that maybe people who are not directly part of the Bar Association, but others have volunteered to say to burn the Constitution, to not represent that, when we believe that the most important thing, the North Star, as one would say, is the Constitution, and to protect that and to be Sri Lankan before everything else. What is the example that we as young lawyers, as people who are just approaching the field, who are new to this field, what is the role that we are going to play? Who should we advocate? What should we listen to?
Yeah, for that purpose, you have to understand what is Bar Association and how it began. So, firstly, we had called advocates and proctors. Right. So earlier, those two divisions were there, and those advocates were represented by Bar Council, and then the Law Society represented the proctors. Yeah. So till 1973, when this AJL came into operation, this was there. Yeah. So thereafter, after AJL came into power, there were no advocates and proctors. Then Mr. Felix Das Bandaranaike, he said all are one category, that is attorneys at law. So that is how we call attorneys at law or attorney at law. Yeah. So then because of that, we have to have a separate body for all our lawyers. So that purpose, in 1974, we started the apex body of lawyers called Bar Association of Sri Lanka. Our first president was founder president. He was Dr. H.W. Jayawardena Kwisi. He was the brother of J.R. Jayawardena, former president of our country. Yeah. That is how it began, and there is a constitution, and it was amended very recently during my tenure of office. So then it has a lot of objectives. Yeah. So one of the objectives would be that we have to cater not only our members, but we have to concentrate about the society as well. And we have the power to go and interview or discuss with the authorities. and the government people they are always ready to listen to us.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
So then they get our opinion with regard to the problems. During the past few years also, it was there. And are we going to take the leadership or not is a different matter, because it is up to the people who are governing the bar association at the moment.
Yeah.
But when we were there, all whether it's government side or the opposition side, they respected us, and they always got their information through us. And if there is a problem, whether it's government or not, we went to the Supreme Court and then challenged the relevant orders, or then and in fact for the defamation case, as far as the parliament member concerned, we also filed a case against him. So that is how we went, and it is our duty to do that. Then our young lawyers should know that bar association is the apex body, and if the members of this particular association is behaving in a particular way, then they should give some example to the younger members.
Exactly. So in that regard, I think you would agree, as an apex body, it's also the professional body that is in charge of this specific occupation, one would say, this specific duty. A lot of literature has been stated about the role of a lawyer, both for and against. One thing I want to clarify, sir, in that regard now, the black coat that people wear, then there is other aspects to it to symbolize that sort of integrity that comes with the profession. When that is taken out of context to some other place for their own personal agenda, this might not be the bar association, but individual lawyers acting on their own. I think the reason why my question is also not too direct is because it's confusing. It's confusing to young lawyers. It's confusing to people who are looking at the bar association and wondering, is this a political body? Is the role of a lawyer a political one? And that's a fair question. What do you say for that?
So when there is a president and secretary, when they are going for election, they always say we should be a political body. Right. So always like that. Yeah. So we can't involve in politics. Yeah. So as I told you, we are there to instruct or give necessary guidelines to the politicians if they want to have. Otherwise, they can do their own way. Yeah. But for the betterment of the country, it is our duty to do that. So this is not a political body. Yeah. And even we can't go as a president or a secretary, we can't go and make our own opinion with regard to some political matters. In fact, I had that problem because once I came for a media and then I expressed my personal view. So the Bar Council said, no, you can't do that. As the president of the Bar Association, till you are there, you can't express your personal ideas with regard to politicians during that time. Yeah. So I accepted that. So I respect. Yeah. I apologized to them and I said, hereafter it won't happen. But it is our duty. That's why I say we should be an example to the young juniors. And even people who are willing to come to this profession, they think, what is this bar association? What are they doing? Yeah. And they always ready to help the people who are willing to come to the profession and who are there as juniors, like apprentice students. We organize several seminars and a lot of discussions with them. And we invite a lot of senior people. This profession is relied on with regard to seniors. So we respect seniors. If we respect the seniors, then the younger generation will respect us also. Exactly. So that is a tradition we are following. Yeah. So I think some people may have done something wrong. That because of that, we can't forget the past from 1974. I was the 24th president. Till such time, they were doing their best. Yeah. And then I continued. Thereafter, during this few years, there were some allegations or some views expressed by various people. Yeah. But I don't think it is a good thing to have a separate view with regard to bar association. Some members may have done something wrong, right. But that does not mean bar association will go in that way, yeah. Or political way with regard to the present situation.
Right. So I think this question comes from the fact I think personally I would have a strong political opinion about things, and yeah. That's the nature of anyone. Then if it doesn't coincide with somebody within the government or with outside the government, we would have something against it. But our question then comes down to, the Bar Association. It's a representative body of all members of the bar. If it is going in one direction, in a direction that is political, not apolitical but political, why don't we see the other aspect, the other lawyers coming together against it? Is that something we witness? Is there some form of mechanism that silences a minority in those instances? How does I think I'm basically asking, how does the Bar Association, the integral parts function inside the Bar Association?
Only thing is now, as far as the continuation is concerned, now the president, secretary are being appointed by the whole membership.
Yeah. That's about 20,000,
22,000 at the moment. Right. So those members go for a voting around the country, yeah. And they elect the president as well as the secretary. Yeah. So those two people are the people who are going ahead with the other members. Yeah. Then thereafter the executive committee. It will be appointed during the Bar Council time. Yeah. So then the Bar Council is controlling the whole thing. The executive committee is doing the things that are being directed by the Bar Council. Yeah. So then thereafter Bar Council, of course, it's a membership of large areas, and then from 22,000 membership, we ask them 10 to 1 people should be there to represent them. Yeah. So they will be summoned for Bar Council meetings every month. Last Saturday we are having that Bar Council meeting. So during this past few years, yeah. Because of the COVID situation, right. We couldn't have that, and I think personal touch or personal expressing views are very important as far as the Bar Council is concerned, because they express their views in different way. But we couldn't do that. Because of that, people thought that Bar Council is silent and the lawyers are going in that particular direction. That does not mean that all are doing the same thing. But I think in future, now the country is okay, yeah. So we can have the Bar Council meeting. So during the last Bar Council meeting, those views were expressed. Yeah. And I suppose, I personally feel that the hierarchy, the president, secretary and the other executive members, they will take note of it, yeah. And they will refrain from going that side, and instead of that, they will do more things they can do to the benefit of the people, right. As well as the membership.
Yeah, because there's a new election that will come in the near future.
In February.
Right. So I think this program falls really in place with that regard as well. So I think a very good introduction to the topic. There's a lot of things I want to ask you. We'll take a short break and we'll discuss firstly the constitution of the Bar Council, what exactly is involved there, and then we have other elements to talk about. We are in discussion with President's Counsel Silva. Stay with us on Law Line and Liberty. Welcome back to Law, Land and Liberty. We are in conversation with President's Counsel Silva. We are talking about the role of the Bar Association and what exactly as the apex body, the professional body in regards to this profession that we are dealing with has to do, especially within a time of crisis. So within our first segment, what we generally covered was the history and where we are right now, where exactly we want to go with the Bar Association. Now, I dislike doing this, but more often than not, when we talk about law, we look at the United Kingdom or the US, and we try to understand their legislature. But I think there is a requirement right now to focus on our country and to talk about how we can really break away from some of these traditions and really establish something that is Sri Lanka centric. We will get into that. But the Bar Association of the United States, they speak of a canon of legal ethics. They talk about how the lawyers are clear about what their objectives are, where their loyalty lies. I think when the Chief Justice Sarathan Silva was seated where you were, he mentioned about the fact that the loyalty is with the Supreme Court of the country. You're not a lawyer of a magistrate court or anywhere else. You're a lawyer of the Supreme Court, and that's where your entire loyalty lies. You are supposed to be protectors of the Constitution. What exactly is included within the Constitution of the Bar Association? What is the integral parts there?
Yeah, as you said, the maintenance of the honor and independence of the bar is the most important thing. And thereafter, the promotion and protection of the interests, welfare rights and privileges. The other important thing is whether we are concentrating on the maintenance of standards of professional conduct by the promotion of honorable practice and prevention of malpractices. We are concerned about that all. We are very particular about that, and we have a number of disciplinary committees headed by G.G. Arupragasam. So people must know when a lawyer does something wrong, which is not a personal thing, but when he is doing his professional duties, if he is doing something wrong, it is up to that particular person to send an affidavit, swear an affidavit, and send it across to the Bar Association. So we have this, as I told you, the disciplinary committee. So the chairman of those all committees we'll go through it and see whether there is a prima facie case against that particular lawyer. And then thereafter, it will be directed to various committees allocated by the Bar Association. So during that inquiry, the lawyer will be given the opportunity to represent by another lawyer, and the client or the person who is making the allegation, he will be there and he will make the allegation. After that, they will think whether he should be reported to the Supreme Court. That is the final thing. So when the committee thinks that he should be reported to the Supreme Court, then thereafter the decision will be sent to the Executive Committee, the Bar Council. Thereafter only it will be sent to the Supreme Court for the Chief Justice to take whether he should be punished by making a rule against him. So that is how it goes. So there is a way of doing that. Whether we are going to have that or not is a different matter. Our Constitution is very clear and our objectives are very clear. We are concerned about our lawyers' disciplinary. So, and they should behave as lawyers, because all people, as you said quite correctly, people are looking at us and they want to see whether we do unnecessary and unwanted things. If so, then they can complain to them. Going here and there and making allegation is not that, but the fact remains, merely because you lose a case, that does not mean you are having a disciplinary inquiry. But if you are not doing a proper job with regard to the laws they are in our country, and you are not properly adhere to the rules and regulations, then you can be punished.
Right. So in continuing that discussion, I return to my question on ethics, because when we speak to multiple lawyers, I think within this program also what we have understood is there are conventions that represent, maybe not in like strict written terms, but this is how a lawyer should function, these are the general rules that you should follow, all of that. But some of them are conventions, as in with practice you'll have developed certain things, like you mentioned, the respect to the seniors, and that is important. But while having all of that, even though there is, very crass comments sometimes made about lawyers, people respect the law fraternity. Their parents want their children to become lawyers. That is that push is still there. That position in society is still there. In that regard, sir, when you see some lawyers maybe disrespecting court, maybe misusing the authority, the image of the Bar Association, of what has been built by people like you for over decades, we have a question of ethics. Is this what it represents? Is this the entire picture? When questions of ethics come out, how does the Bar Association or the legal fraternity as a whole address them? Is it because it might not only be disciplinary, but I believe it has a bigger issue there.
That's right.
How is the legal fraternity addressing?
That's a very good question you have asked me. Because when a lawyer comes to this profession, it is our duty as seniors to educate them.
Yeah.
We started that by going to various provinces. We called them as provincial law conferences, we went right through the country, and a lot of people helped us, and we were able to educate them. One of the topics was the ethics. So that is a main point, and seniors are being asked to come and educate them. So that is how we should address them and tell them this is what our profession would be. If we are not going to teach them or give them the opportunity to discuss with these things, I don't think it's proper to put fingers against them. So that is not the correct way. So if we are trying to punish them, or if they report to the Supreme Court, firstly we have to educate them. After the 3-year period is over at the law college, they are having 6 months apprenticeship period. During that also, Bar Association involved in that. And how to behave in a courthouse are the main topics we are discussing. So as far as outside court, it is the seniors who should tell them how to behave and how to conduct yourself and how to respect your client as well. So inside the courthouse, it is the duty of the judge to control the courthouse, and if some lawyer is doing unwanted and unnecessary remarks or unnecessary questioning, he should be able to control it. So, and the Chief Justice, and then with him, our committees are there, so they discuss with these things and they inform the judges as well. They have their seminars, they have informed the judges how to control or to safeguard the dignity of a courthouse. So merely because you are a lawyer, you can't just go there and ask unnecessary questions and harass the witnesses. At this stage, even if you are cross-examining in a way that it will be harass to the witness, the judge will say, don't do that. If you are going to continue, I will report it. So there is a way of doing that. That is why people respect us. We want to continue with that and do the best for the country. And we are, as I told you, if we are going around the country and tell all the, now we have our seminars in Colombo. So all lawyers cannot be here for those seminars.
Exactly.
So because of that, and junior bar seminar is also there. So that is also very limited thing. But if you are going around the country and have professional seminars as far as the provinces are concerned, then the lot of lawyers, they come and participate. So by way of doing that, we are helping the juniors to get some knowledge about the ethics as well as the conduct of the courthouse.
Right. So I think if we can build on that aspect as well, because something when we look at the reports that the Bar Association extends, we see the unique role that they play, be it through webinars, be it through, and those are helpful even to the layman to understand what's happening, behind the screens, about why cases take this long. It's an entire complex process that the lawyer is engaged in, and your vast experience in this field, not only in Colombo, but I know because I get to contact you and you are all around the country as well. You see the distribution of maybe the kind of professionalism that exists here may not exist somewhere else, or the professionalism that exists there wouldn't come here. In that context, we'll come back to the initial question that we were discussing about the role of the Bar Association and what are the other elements that they play. Now we spoke about there's a president, there is an entire body that governs it. They have implement certain certain activities, certain operations. But at the same time, they introduce new things like webinars, or as you mentioned, the national law, the conferences, the conventions. In those aspects, what are those supplementary roles that a bar association can play a part, be it education, be it bringing in some form of novelty, giving either the legal aid in certain scenarios? What are the other sort of services that the Bar Association will provide?
So as you said, the legal aid is a very key thing that we should address. And at the moment we have a Legal Aid Foundation, and our Legal Aid Foundation has a lot of, all as far as the courthouses are concerned, all over the country we have the branch association. So Rohan Sabandhu, President Counsel, is a chairman. He's doing a lot of work as far as the illegal aid concerned, because they always ask the Bar Association to participate for those seminars or legal aid clinics, and they sometimes send cases to senior lawyers to help them. Without any fee, we are doing it. So that is one aspect. And then another important thing is loss delays. So we talk about law delays, but we are not coming, earlier we are not coming out, we were not in a position to come out with suggestions. So now we had a good program called pre-trial seminars, pre-trial process. So during that period, we were able to finish most of the cases without prolonging it. So the judge is there, the defense counsel, the prosecutor, and then the aggrieved party, and inquiring officer also will be called. The Bar Association is doing giving a lot of help to that, and they are taking a leading role to go around the country and explain these things as far as these criminal cases are concerned. So we are in a position to curtail these delays by implementing these pre-trial conferences.
So one thing before a question that came to my mind just now is, when you were the president of the Bar Association, very one would say a tense time period, and you have been practicing law within our country during an even more difficult period, be it the conflict, a lot of things are happening. What are the key issues that you faced as a president? Because my next question is going to be, who comes to influence our Bar Association? Because what we believe, and what I personally believe, is also lawyers are the ones who will, at the end stage, finally they are the ones who will protect the fundamental rights that people have. They are the ones who will understand it, and they are the ones who can go forward, because Sri Lanka, as we all know, is a country that is being looked by, that is being interfered by a lot of other countries, a lot of other factors as well. Before I go into that, sir, I want to ask you about your personal experiences as the president of the Bar Association. What did you have to face in terms of challenges?
Challenges, of course, we were able to settle all these challenges, but as far as the American Bar Association is concerned, they came and they met the hierarchy people, and they were trying to have a branch association in Sri Lanka. So we vehemently objected for that, and then we said, no, you can't do that. You can help us to expedite the cases or enhance the knowledge of the lawyers. You can help us, but you can't have a branch association in this country. So they accepted. They tried to do that, but when we explained to that and we objected to that, they helped. They said, yes, you can carry on, and USAID still they are working with us.
Yeah.
Some people think they are controlling us. No, they can't do that. The Bar Association is going to take the control, and they are helping to implement a lot of areas which we need some sort of financial support.
Right.
So that is the only support we are expecting from them, and we are giving the results.
Yeah.
We go around and we show them how we work, and they were very happy about the way that we conduct ourselves and we are how we organize it. So recently also USAID pre-trial conferences, they came and voluntarily help us. Right. And they are continuing to do so. Right. And apart from that, UNDP, and they were during the COVID situation, they came forward and they gave a lot of laptops to the courthouses. Right. And because of that, we were able to communicate with the prison authorities, and without bringing those people, we were able to see the prisoner and then extend the remand period. So right. That's a good move, yeah. Which they have helped us, UNDP. And then UNODC also, at the moment, they are working with us. They want to enhance the knowledge of the lawyers as well as the police people, and they are giving help to the legal aid commission as well. Yeah. So that is how they participate, and if we are in a position to control them and explain the way that we want and our objectives also, I don't think they are in a position to come and harass us or dictate us, because we are a political organization. And even that also, I would say, that is, we need those things. Yeah. The government is not going to fund us. Yeah. So the Ministry of Justice is asking us to help, but when we are going around the country and we are implementing a lot of things with the help of those organizations.
Right. So just a final question for this segment. I think it's important that we get this financial support that is required to implement certain things. But leaving aside the names of organizations or who might be influencing, if we have a concern, if the general public has a concern that the Bar Association, which we hold in such high regard, the people that we believe will finally protect our interests, is being influenced by some other authority, what is the sort of mechanism, or who do we turn to at that point? So, because that is a question that a lot of people would be having if we see that the apex body is being influenced by another authority. Where do we turn to?
I don't think it is correct to have that idea, okay. Because when we are not coming out with the exact story, or when we are not going to answer those things, we think that no, we are an apex body and we don't want to comment on that and we do our work. No, I don't think it is correct. It is their duty to clear the Bar Association name. Yeah. So some people think the hierarchy in our Bar Association, the hierarchy, sometimes they think they don't want to go before the media and explain it. Yeah. So I am not in agreement with that. You are not going to do political things, yeah. But you have to safeguard your association. Exactly. As you said, people will have that rumors, or people will have that ideas, or their opinions. Yeah. So with regard to that, if you are not going to explain it and show that, as I told you, how we are working and how we worked, yeah. With them should be shown to them, the people, and explain it. So when we do that, people will understand that the Bar Association is not going to listen to them and then go with them hand in hand and ruin the image of the Bar Association. No, they are not going. The present hierarchy also, they are not doing it. They want to have our image there, but sometimes they may have their own problems. So we have to concentrate on that. I think they will listen to the membership, majority of the membership, and they will adhere to the things, objectives of our association.
Right. All right, sir. I think towards our final segment, I want to ask a bit about the reformation aspect and where we are going to head from this point onwards. We'll take a very short break. You're watching Law, Land and Liberty. Stay with us. Welcome back to Law, Land and Liberty. We are in conversation with President's Counsel. You are Silva, the former president of the Bar Association. We are in our last segment. Sir, I think very educative, informative segments that we passed, and just to get into a more philosophical element in this segment, I want to ask you the path forward, because you have been playing a unique role as the president, now still as a practitioner, and it's important the role you play, the kind of example that you set, so that the youth, the new lawyers understand where they need to head. When looking at the Bar Association as a whole, when looking at the legal fraternity as a whole, towards this segment, my initial question is going to be, what are the key reforms or the aspects that you think we need to change, either through the law or as practitioners themselves? Where do we need to change so that the professional element, the professionalism, is still retained? Because my final question, sir, is going to be on whether there is a set criteria of where our loyalty should lie. And we initially started by saying it should be the Supreme Court with the Constitution. We'll get there. But if that, what sort of elements, what sort of reforms need to take place as of now? Are there aspects that you have seen like that?
Yeah, there are. It's a very important question as far as the Bar Association is concerned. Bar Association has a bounden duty to be the driving force. I informed the present president also, during that period, we should have taken more steps toward the benefit of the country and the people in this country. Because there was a political problem, and then at that point, even the opposition party came to Bar Association. They discussed several things, but I think it is our duty to take the initiative and go forward and meet the president even and ask him to do this and that. So we should have the criteria to enforce him to do the justice to the country. Right. So that is what the leadership call. So as you know, the all professional association in one umbrella, we say OPA. In OPA also, we are the highest body or the main number one body in this country. So we have a lot of opportunity to do so. Even the other professionals, they will follow it up. They will follow us. And
the OPA is represented in the Constitutional Council also.
That's correct. So then if we take, this would be the main thing I should say. Even constitution amendments are concerned, or the new constitution is concerned, as far as the new laws are concerned, and the political system is concerned, Bar Association should go forward and tell them how to do this and that. So if we are not going to do that and say we are a professional body, we will help our membership. No. People will not expect us to do that type of thing. They expect always take the leadership. If we think that it is not necessary, the parliament is not necessary, we want to burn the constitution, that is not correct. They few members, they will do that. They will have their own way. But the majority, 22,000 membership is there. So majority is expecting the president, secretary and the executive committee as well as the Bar Council to go forward with the political system and then say, this is how you should govern the country. This is how the laws should be there. At the moment, people might not know these things. The Justice Ministry called us, the lawyers, and then they have appointed a lot of committees to go into these things. And during Ali Sabri's tenure also, that was happening. So we were actively participating in those areas. But we must inform the society that we are ready to do that. At the moment we are doing it. But more than that, as far as the elections are concerned also, if we can draft some solutions and show to the president, he is bound to do that because he is also one of our members.
Right. Because the majority of the parliament is also part of the membership of the Bar Association. Sir, moving towards the latter part in conclusion, also what I want to ask you is, again, just to build up on the Reformation aspect, seeing that even you were part of the amendments or the bringing in a new constitution, making in the reformations that are required in specific fields. You headed few committees as well. Those are roles that we would expect the Bar Association to take up, because those are the key defining moments in a country's future. In moving forward, do you believe that with certain precedents that have been set in the past, are we straying away from that, or are we still within that target?
We are within that target, and we are doing it. I don't think it is proper to say that we are going against the objectives of our constitution, and we are against the membership consent, and then we are not doing that. There may be few lapses, but we can adjust ourselves and move forward. So my personal feel is it is way forward. We should go to the mass and inform them that we want to carry your problems or your ideas to the authorities, and then we want to give you the best for the benefit of our country.
Right. So as a final question, I want to ask you now, you had a period where you were a new lawyer in the field. You didn't know there were seniors that you had to look up to, you had to follow. From that point onwards to now where you lead this organization, where at one point you were leading it and now you're one of the most veteran individuals within this field, what are the key changes that you have seen in the positive direction that you have witnessed, saying, okay, these elements within our profession we have built and we need to protect these things, these qualities, these conventions? What are things that you learned over time? Or is there a depreciation of that? What do you observe?
Depreciation, of course, the respecting the seniors, of course, there is a lacuna, and then it is going down.
Right.
I have to admit that. But as far as the knowledge is concerned, new lawyers or the apprentice students, they get more benefits, because now at the moment we are in a position to express our views in different ways. As you said, webinars are there, and the conferences are there, and the books also. Now we publish books, and because of that, our juniors also, they want to do some service to the legal literature. So recently, a lot of lawyers, they voluntarily came forward, and they have written a lot of literature as far as the legal fraternity is concerned, legal literature is concerned. So that is happening. Earlier it was not there, and we can go to the internet and download all the cases that are being there. And today, if there is a judgment is given in Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, next day it will be there in the website. So those are the things which we didn't get during our time. My senior, Ananda Vijaysekara, President Counsel, he had the benefit of getting all these documents because he is a senior person. But the juniors, raw juniors, they don't have that. So we were able to, with the help of my senior, Ananda Vijaysekara, we were able to have unreported judgments published and send it across to the various outside branches. So because of that, we have 88 branches at the moment. So we were able to do so and enhance their knowledge. So at the moment, it is happening because of the present situation. There was a lull period, but now I think we can do more services to the people, and it is our duty, bounden duty, to help the juniors, because they are the people who are going to take the profession and march forward.
Right. A very, very important program that we just covered. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. President's Counsel, you are Silva, the former president of the Bar Association, and I sincerely hope that you get more opportunities to serve this country as you have been doing, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right. The North Star in the life of a lawyer would be the country's constitution. As aspiring lawyers take oaths, their loyalty lies with the Constitution and the Supreme Court of the country. Rufus Sciott, a former US Senator, once stated the following with regards to the role of a lawyer, which is that it raises it from a mere calling by which bread, fame, and social place may be earned, to a function by which the country may be served. That is all from us here at Law, Land and Liberty. If you had missed today's program, you can rewatch the entire episode on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/otherthanenglish. I'm Daniditha Navasa. Have a great night.